All right, everybody, let's get to it. Happy to be back here on a Thursday after a week away. Really quick, APV, you were the first one in who put in gold. So we'll give you a 30-day gold membership and invite you and everyone else, well, tell everybody about the options seminar tomorrow. We're going to open it up at 9:30 in the morning, start at 10. Be there at 9:30 because I'm going to line up a couple of opportunities. I'll show you guys one or two things that I've been mentioning this morning. And it's open to recent owners or new subscribers of the software. Also, Harmonic Trader Gold Silver members, you guys can come. It's on the information page, also in the Discord. So get with us, join us. Any questions, reach out to me. You can email me or send me a note or one of the moderators a note in the Discord. Again, that's tomorrow, 9:30. Been talking a lot about it. It's going to be some strategies you're going to want to know, especially coming into this earnings season. We're going to have a lot of volatility. Beautiful environment for opportunities to produce on option charts that are, give us 1, 2, 5x moves. 9:30 Eastern. Thank you, not a gamer. What's going on, chat? Great to be back. David, Masterson Trust, Nicholas, Evan, David V, Rudy C. What's up, Rudy? APV, congrats again. We'll give away one more gold membership, so hang in there. No books. We'll start the books again. I'll give away some books next month. Gold memberships have it all. So, where have we been in a week? Let's just kick it off with a QQQ. Something to take note of this morning. There on the 1 minute chart. Okay, real nice, some bullish patterns down here, back-to-back patterns really. There on here's the 5 minute. Excuse me. So 5 minute type 1 shark, no confirmation, but that's type 1. And there's been just an abundance of 5 minute patterns, especially those opportunities with confirmation, giving us really nice price segmented profit segments is the best way to describe it. Right now, midday, kind of got this midday dot thing going on as well. QQQs, we're almost, 364.50. I expect that type 2 return as we're speaking here, starting to drop, but expect that for today. It's just a little something for today right now. And then maybe the type 2 return gets us to the type 2 reversal. So right off the bat, there's a little something to consider for today's action, but we're probably more interested in what's going on with daily, weekly time frames. What are the possibilities? And we've talked about a number of them. Again, NASDAQ just a rocket ship since mid-late March. And for our purposes, ever since that HSI signal, which we identified, all the way down at the 308 area, 310 with a 320 breakout, went well beyond our targets. So how high can this thing go? And where should we be positioning? Because pullbacks are happening on 5-minute charts, but it's just at such a higher level. You have to be kind of just accept that for where we are. I do think we are in the later stages of this move and probably for the entire year. But the 392 level of this hop pattern, the hop level off that pattern, which is a crab. Also, don't forget, we have this shark from last year, which ended up being a really nice marker. It exceeded 281, which was the daily hop level, but the fact that it held, reversed off of that, reinforces the possibility that we got to consider target 2 as well. So that would be our top end, and that doesn't really stray from the overall objective or summer playbook, as I've been saying, which is gunning for the shark pattern. Combination of that 1618 and 886, that remains to be our immediate objective. If it's a 23 level, and it doesn't mean that I'm looking for a massive short opportunity, rather looking for that structure to serve as kind of where the framework will complete. So I think a lot of different things here shaping up that even the software starting to generate an alternate bat pattern with levels that are this alternate bat, which is a 113 off the weekly chart. Again, you get the picture. 387, full 886 retest. We've been talking about that for months. So continue to spot up 5-minute opportunities. Focus on these mega techs. You can start to branch out, and I'll talk about some of that too. Some of the secondary tech plays that were Cathie Wood specials. Yeah, they might come back now, and we might have to start hearing a lot more from Cathie Wood, frankly. Pretty interesting stuff, though. Obviously, Bitcoin, a real nice bounce reaction. We'll get into that because Bitcoin held all of the levels we talked about. Ethereum as well. Altcoins still don't look that great, but I don't think it matters. So we'll get into Bitcoin in a few minutes. Let's run through kind of the top 5 big tech issues that I like to do and just get caught up. Where check out Microsoft. Something that generated 2 weeks ago and we did hit the all-time 886 right here. It was 338. There's your 886. Where'd you go? It was like there. We've hit that. Now, what's going on? Is this not going to rocket up to all-time new highs? We flashed up there. This pattern, a 1618, is a part of the shark element that I've talked about, but the shark also needs, when we get up there, that 113 tolerance. So if we trace out the shark on Microsoft, we're definitely looking at this 886 retest, and we even had an HSI check back last week, so that makes what's going on here critical. The 886 with the 1618 on the shark is like that. Those are your minimums. And so that's 338 with the crab. Nice little crab as high as 344. I want to pay attention, but there's no confirmation here. So let's check out weekly indicator here. Yellow dot. Not yet. Maybe 1 week away, actually. Now, this is the confirmation I want to pay attention to. Could we be going into a pause? Not a higher romp up to the hop level? Because that's definitely a little mini divergence that's now starting to roll over. So the next 2 days are going to be critical. Other thing that I think is important to note with however we finish on Friday is that HSI's hit that 50 level. And that's a point where this indicator reaction usually needs to get to where before we see real price exhibition. These are definitely interesting scenarios, and I'm going into earnings season. I'm trading exclusively off those levels. Does this mean we go to puts and look for a reaction for some reason? Not yet. Not yet. I'm watching that. The other one, the big one, of course, Apple. Big yellow dot up here, but it's just continuing. And what we're looking for, this is a lot stronger than actually what you're seeing in Microsoft, is that 1618 extension within this run. Is that what we should be running for immediately, or looking for some kind of a pullback? That's the assumption. 220 on Apple. Okay. Microsoft hasn't triggered beyond the all-time highs yet to really qualify as going into that kind of a move. Still a bar over bar, weekly progression. I mean, that's real nice, fine price action. It's even stronger than Microsoft. The other one, the big potential candidate here for NVIDIA, is this a breakout or fake out? And I think we'll know within a few more weeks. We don't have any confirmation up here yet. Okay, but amplified, starting to roll over. I'm not really too concerned about this yet. And take a look at where the daily is. This is probably a better situation than most because we've gone sideways to higher as we grind and let a lot of air out in Harmonic Strength Index. So if we could get a high level HSI somewhere in here around 400, 390, something like that, that would be your next level continuation for NVIDIA. Does look like we're in a pause here. Does look like we're in a short-term pause before we try to set up something larger. So, be aware of that. I think the more important note is that we're not going to trigger unless we have signals. We're just not going to, go there and be ready until we have some larger signals after these runs. So I've been saying the last few days, I popped into the Discord while I was away, and it was on Monday, and market was dropping. I just said, let it fall. Let it come in and let it set up on a 5-minute. And a few of them did. I mean, QQQs did set up yesterday before this run. Tesla, sure. And hey, Ivan, what's going on? You had some good nuggets last time. Tesla's doing something very interesting. Okay, it won't complete until today, but daily HSI is about to register a bullish signal. Look at this. How is that possible? How can we be oversold and we haven't even come back in price? That's one of the real bonuses of HSI, to detect those situations. And I'm actually, just to highlight what's Amplified is doing. Amplified has a massive complex that's an M formation that went to the 50 level. Okay, typically that's our minimum, especially in RSI BAM, but that should set up for the return move as well. So Tesla in an interesting spot that could click today and be an important marker for potential next leg. It's we're getting opportunities despite how hard these are running. We're still getting opportunities even on the daily side. So important, be patient. If you feel like you missed out, just chill out, line up your setups, because they're giving them to you while you're focused on something that you missed out. Something else is setting up. That's the way to think about it. That was what? That was number 4. Let's go number 5 of Meta, and I'll throw in 1 or 2 more. But Meta is up here now, formed a yellow dot on the daily, but remember, we've got some patterns up here. Targets. There's the crab pattern from, remember, forever ago. Back in October, we were trading under 100. Now almost 300. 302 is the target. We have a yellow dot, so I'm paying attention to that, because is that the end of this reaction? I'm not there quite yet, but I'm focused on the fact that we're closer to many targets with some confirmation. And really in the last 4 or 5 days has kind of started to respond. So I'll watch that. Take note of this little signal on Meta. And this would be a lot like what we see with coming up in Tesla. High level HSI signal after a huge run, where HSI shows you where the little reaction is more than enough to get oversold and set up the next leg. That's exact scenario to what we're looking for in Tesla today. Couple more. Of course, Netflix. Another HSI that generated. Now check this out. Beautiful crab pattern. 1618 reaction. That just started. So yesterday's HSI did register with a fairly strong reading. Not to mention we hit the 50 level. And this looks like Netflix ready to do that return move and run for minimum 437. I mean, you're only 6 away from that, which is the XA level, but you do need some kind of confirmation up here. And we could go as high as the hop level 478 until we have bearish confirmation. There's, expect that to continue. Yes, you're in a bearish potential reversal zone on the daily. It's a beautiful pattern. But this last reaction just let enough out where you got oversold. And this could run higher, like I said, 478 minimum. And if we take it out on the weekly, we've been saying for a while that a 50 to 618 all-time retracement range, really not surprising for Netflix. And your 618 range is like 495. So coming into these earnings, I suspect that a lot of these type of setups will get reached before earnings, and then they'll sell them on earnings. I think we'll hit these targets, and a lot of them are big weekly targets if it's an 886 on Microsoft or if it's an all-time 618 on Netflix. Makes sense. A couple of more. Before I jump to crypto, let's look at the SPY. And those 6 or 7 that I just mentioned, those are the kind of option candidates that I'll be featuring tomorrow. And it's always kind of that top 10, maybe 15 of the mega techs. So SPY, another one here. If we were looking at this pattern and it was a 5-minute setup, 5-minute chart, I would say, okay, that's a strong type 1 move on the weekly. Now checking back right at target 2. And that's, again, focused really tightly on last week's high. Last week's high was 438.37. We are practically exactly there now. We would say that has checked back. All right. Now, here's where every day and every week is going to be critical going forward. We would want to see a yellow dot. If we think that this is the end of some kind of reaction, we would see it expressed in 2 or 3 candles, 2 or 3 weeks. Consider that week 1. So I'm watching closely because if the strength's going to continue, it has to do it now. It has to continue into next week, into the following week, which is where we got earnings coming up again, and then do a linear run, an aggressive move. And that's a potential depending on what happens with amplified RSI. Again, tomorrow's close, options expiration, everything Friday expirations, we're going to see fireworks. Now, I'll watch what happens into tomorrow's close because that will tell us if this is cooked for now or if we got a little bit more to go. You know, we're going to open up July and have some profit taking. I mean, that could very well happen. But either way, I expect a lot of volatility that we should embrace. I mean, that's what we want. We want the markets to move as traders. From a longer term perspective, something like the SPY is a huge development within the harmonic pattern framework, but is only a first step. And if we're going to do something larger, bigger now, in terms of, say, the all-time 886, make that run. 465, that's the all-time 886. And that, again, like the Qs and some of the other big markets we looked at, okay, that should happen now. We should see that progression continue now. Otherwise, we roll over, we're going to go into a pause. I mean, you take out like the 3-bar range. Under 430 for SPY, I would say, okay, we're going to probably pause up here and take more time. That's how critical it is. And it literally today, tomorrow, and into next week. Isn't it next week at 4th of July? Let me look at this. I know the markets will be closed one day next week. I'll certainly have our Monday session again for Harmonic Trader members. I guess the market is closed, obviously, on the 4th. And it'll probably be super light action on Monday. But, hey, I'll be here because I think we want to get ready for these companies that are going to announce early and start sizing up what a lot of these daily structures are telling us. Couple more. Before I get to crypto, let's look at a couple of individual issues that I've mentioned. Last week we talked EV stocks like Rivian. Look at this. Remember Rivian and Lucid? We like these. And why? Because they all have patterns, big patterns. Here's Rivian. We're under 14 on this. Now it's 15.50. Folks, this is where things can develop. Also, I said we're to the right of the downtrend. We're looking for a target one, 2283. The other one, NEO. And let me just say, EV stocks without Tesla, although we know Tesla's deal. Deep Crab putting up HSI 2 days ago, a bullish HSI in the zone. That's actually a really nice spot because it's after a secondary low. Maybe we get a check back, but that's almost ready to make a run for target one itself. Then the other one was Lucid. They had a big deal. Well, check it out. They also have big patterns. Look at that. Deep Crab right at 562. And it's another one of these small patterns within the larger pattern formation. Software picking that one out. Real nice with confirmation. Again, 560. But it's not even about 560. It's about that XA level at 790s, $8. You're still well under there. I'm watching. I don't think we're going to come back and retest. This really might get going now because look at what your indicators are doing on the daily. Really starting to pop. So I'm still long that, and I'll stay long that because it's more about the larger type 2, type 1 explosion, but only reaction. Now we should get reversal city down there. Remember, if you're not in that one, look for a 5-minute pullback, something, a 60-minute pullback. You're well under that XA level, so you're still fair game. Crypto Foundation, he's saying Polestar is another. Let's see here, Polestar Automotive. I don't know that one, but I'm gonna know this. Thank you, sir. I think that is, or ma'am, miss, Mrs. That's a beauty. I don't know what the volume is like on that, but that is a nice structure. These are perking up, folks. This is the kind of harmonic opportunity where we're going to be way in front of this. Then everyone else is going to pile in. The main players will come in after the stuff pops. What's the weekly look like? Oh, it's a perfect HSI check back. Pretty nice. I will be looking at that one. And then there's, stuff like this charge point. That's starting to, there you go. Look at this. Charge point at big weekly yellow dot, but the daily's got some patterns here. Look at this. So there's another one I'm going to be featuring. It's almost a perfect type 2. I think that is a perfect type 2 shark. Charge point, folks. That's a new one, CHPT. Looks like there's this whole EV thing going on. Hey, Sourness, we just did NEO, and we're looking at EVs. And I guess, what's the other one? Blink. And I know Blink's a big one. That was something we've looked at previously. It's a daily, it is a daily crab, but really I think it's more about the weekly needing to get confirmation here. I think we're down there at the all-time 886. Yeah, I'm looking at this. I don't like these ones that kind of leak like that, where you just make new lows. But that's an opportunity. I like the EV makers themselves, but in the same way that we showed you Rivian and NEO, you need to get to the right of that downtrend and then stabilize, do something. Pretty good stuff. All right, one more on that. Cactus Leo, what's going on? EVGO, he wants to look at. And what's there? No real pattern. We definitely want patterns. I mean, that could be sitting on an 886 with confirmation, but we want to go with the patterns. What about weekly? No. No, that again, another one where, folks, we want, with these kind of long-term low floaters, you want to be to the right of that downtrend. Give me the patterns over here, not down here. But I appreciate the suggestion. All right, last one. Is that Fisker? Because I should do a whole thing on yeah, I knew that was Fisker, FSR. Another one that needs to get to the right of the downtrend. Yeah, I mean you could sit there. I see it. Yeah, there's an alternate bat, but that's at 542. You're right there. But again, get to the right of the downtrend. That has work to do. I don't know. Bottom fishing like that, I usually find myself sitting on something that could potentially become a zombie. Don't want zombies. Okay, let's jump to crypto because I think the Bitcoin thing surprised a lot of people, but we were really expecting this. I mentioned this quickly last week in the Mondays, or actually just Monday. We were talking about the daily HSI, and then we were talking about June 21st. Anyone remember that? The inflection low? And then we got follow through. So now the daily chart decides to print a bearish shark pattern where we could be one candle away from a yellow dot. And I would not be surprised to see this thing just kind of slam back down 28,157 before it does something more dramatic. That would actually give us a 5-0 bullish opportunity. I said this Monday. So again, just be aware of that. Of course, we're still one red candle away. But that's the general assumption, general framework that, hey, we could get into a slow July, come back down, and then do the move off the 5-0. Let's give this, another 2 weeks of stuff like that. It's not an astrology thing or anything like that. I posted it on Twitter of just recognizing that there were numerous cycle lows every 90 days at these equinox dates. So plenty of time for something major. And it doesn't, look, let's go to the top 5. As we go through the top 5, the targets are still the same, 37.3. Let's just say 37,000. And again, I would think it would be after the shark reacts and then you bust through. Could be this fall. I mean, really could be this fall. I was originally saying September 21st, and then I said, after April, I said, just give me till the end of the year. But 37,000 by the end of the year, I think I can do that. Jan 1. I'm going to stretch it a little bit, give myself a little more time. But that sets up for the halving. So we're finishing this, second quarter, half of the year. For crypto people, I think now you can start your count because every day closer to the end of the year, you're going to get to that 2024 deal, that 2024 halving that, all the Bitcoin people are talking about, all the big boys, Michael Saylor buying more Bitcoin recently, because I think these guys are going to hype up this halving cycle phenomenon no matter what. And even if it just goes to an 886, all-time 886, even if Bitcoin can just get to an all-time 618, back to 50K, something like that. What is it? It's a 618. It's an all-time 618. Just shy of 50K. But I'm going to say 37, and I think you're going to see hype galore very soon. Looks beautiful on the weekly chart, and you need a weekly close above 37,800, a close above 32,000. Just so you know, within this secondary swing, has the makings of a connect the dots shark, where it kind of extended, but I would say that swing 886 for Bitcoin, as high as say 45,000. That's not crazy. That's really not crazy, but that starts only above 32. That would be your segmented range going forward. Crypto is asking, would that all-time 618 be a sell at 50K? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's think of it this way, and what I should dedicate more time to this maybe next week because we really need to do a big rundown on crypto again. But I'm thinking something like this, like maybe you give it a 50% level, and then you come down and 382 to a 50 here, something like that, and then give you a bat pattern into next year and walk through it like that. M's and W's, that's what we're looking for. I don't like to do that too much because I think it's like, you're making assumptions. You can just, pull out of thin air. I don't like to do that. But if this was going to follow some kind of W formation, a bat pattern with a midpoint somewhere around there, which fits 37 to 40, makes a lot of sense. Let's go to Ethereum. Ethereum, not as nice as Bitcoin. Just not. But pausing at the daily levels, we said that, 1800, 1750, despite the fact that it did kind of sell off a little more than we wanted back in, all the way back here in June. But at HSI, it's just not as structurally as sound as Bitcoin. But the one thing we talked about with Ethereum, that it is maintaining that uptrend off of this bat pattern. There's a couple structures down there, and that's what you need to do if you're Ethereum. And I guess just be mindful that any kind of breakdown or underneath the uptrend line, certainly under that low, because initial low, secondary, tertiary, continuation low, needs to hold that. Number 3, I don't know why even I'm saying number 3 is Binance Coin, because I don't know, kind of a poser operation in my opinion. Software is printing a crab pattern, but counter HSI signal. I'm still not crazy about Binance Coin because I don't think it should have violated 300 recently, and now you have a bearish signal in a bullish zone. Careful here. I mean, really, that wouldn't take much. Under 220, 218, with a close under 218, you would have to say, look out. Let me clean this up, but you never did the breakout above 340, and you didn't hold 300. Remember what I was saying about Ethereum having this kind of uptrend low? Has to hold that? No. Didn't hold that. Didn't hold the uptrend. And even if you were going to be aggressive and have this thing do some kind of breakout off of that uptrend line, yeah, we see that was miserably failed. Looks like that. Not to mention, we've had successive 1, 2, and 3 bullish dots, main dots at the uptrend continuations. Now we're looking at bearish, lower than these levels. Those things are early signs of structural breakdown, in my opinion. I'm not crazy about that. Why wouldn't this be, this could be another Solana. I just think the dynamics are different for this than say, Bitcoin or Ethereum. You got to be more impressed with Bitcoin going forward. Number 4, XRP, folks. Hang in there. Just hang in there. This one did reverse off of its shark pattern. So bullish dot right now. Do we go back for the type 2? That's, for me, I would think you're at 46 cents, 47 cents, anything like that to get you back to 56. And I've been saying that for a little while. 45 on the low side, 55 on the top side. Nothing changes until you get above 60. Number 5, Cardano, which it's got everything we'd want to see in a setup. A type 2, deep crab. Perfectly did to target 1, back down to target 2. I mean, that is really nice, folks. Beautiful reaction. Man, it was up to 46 cents. But once that rolled over, we knew we had to get back to at least 28. Flashed down amazingly under 24. And little bounce to 30, but now we have a counter HSI. Despite the fact that we have a bullish and a dot, a quick HSI against us, a counter HSI, just look for that to come back down. Retest this area, probably a longer consolidation, but that's, easy way to read it. And like a lot of them, look, we got to clear the downtrends for these crypto that are still faced with short-term downtrends like that. We could go sideways for a month or two between 25 and 30 before you really are in a position to do anything. So I'm just, it's trying to be patient with it. The more patient you are, I think the better off you're going to be. Time's on your side here as we get into the second half. Now, if we come August and we get in here to August, end of August, and we're to the right and we're down here with some kind of confirmation, I'd say that's a better spot. Even if we popped off here, I just think you're going to be bouncing around until you get to the right there. And we've seen that so many times. All right, a couple of the select things that I've talked about previously. You guys, render, yeah, that's one of them. And I mentioned that where, coming back down, it's a back-to-back situation. And I look, reaction was over that we talked about last week. And what we're looking for is in render is it's a high level bullish pattern setting up after bearish reaction. And this is different than a lot of them because, we've maintained this uptrend. We're at a critical test now, but, that kind of a thing, some patterns is that we have followed this on bearish levels to bullish targets, etc. It has been ping-ponging in an ideal fashion. We hold this 178. Next target, we go back to 290. As high as 345 on the hop level. A few others. Some things that, coming back from the dead, so to speak, is VET. And I don't know what to do with this because you're going to sit on that weekly. This one went all the way down to 1.5. We were looking at this. Where's the weekly there? Okay. Anywhere under 2.4. It went to 1.5. I think we have to look at that, within the crypto glasses, understanding that, yeah, that's pretty normal. And it's still valid, but need to get to the right of the downtrend. This is something that, all right, maybe add to the position down here. I'm not, it's kind of an ugly T coin, but we're looking for something to stabilize. I just call it 2 cents. I'm fine with that. A couple of dots recently. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, there was the first dot actually right there. What, right around the 21st. Potentially important confirmation, first bullish signal right of the downtrend, and it's coming right at June 21. These are not coincidental factors. So I'm still looking at that. I think that's a super T coin here for the next cycle, regardless of what happened recently. Solana, what did it do? It hit target 1. Solana was a crab pattern. It's still a crab pattern, actually. There you go. That was that deep crab down at the terminal bar is 1358. This is squeezed, though. You had a bullish yellow dot followed by a bearish yellow dot. I think $15 is probably what you want to look for. And weekly time frame looks like this, but that's got a lot of work to do. I think, look, I think sizing up opportunities in Bitcoin is probably better than something like this that's been decimated. Just, I think there's a security factor with some of these where Bitcoin to go from 30,000 to 17,000 or even lower is a likely risk than, say, Solana if it comes back down from 17 to 10 or even 8. There's some big numbers down there. What was that before? Yeah, it was this bigger crab pattern at 12. And I still think, much like Cardano, that's your retest number. Solana to 12 would satisfy the type 2. Also, take note of what happened after hitting the reaction target. Reaction target was $24, 23, 23.39. And just clear sideways, a wall of resistance, and now we've rolled over. I just think it's a matter of time for the full retest. Got to be patient and super selective with these. No sense chasing. Couple of more. I do want to talk about those crypto miners. They're outrageous. Certainly. And maybe even some of the related instruments. What was the other one? Wasn't it Cartesi? Talked about that last time. Something back down there. Cartesi retesting all-time 886. I think it's sorry. Oh no, I know what it was. It was this fetch AI, which is just right back into the zone off of the crab, and that too. So I'm watching this because that too put in an HSI last week. Bearish. What's that mean? Probably more consolidation down here. The other one was I posted was AGIX, and it's a lot doing the same. AGIX, all these that did massive moves had a little pop. Now they're showing an HSI again. I wouldn't, I wouldn't be surprised to see this HSI get retested 17. But that's a beautiful pattern. Needs to get to the right of the downtrend. Like that. But I think 17 cents, 18 cents, that's a great place to look. One or two more. What do you guys, OP, Deep Crab? What is that? Is that an AI thing? I've heard of that before. Where did that go? OP here. There it is. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's not a great Binance US, not the best feed. But that's a great picture. That's on Binance data feed. That's the Tether contract. So 122, but again, we have an HSI that says it needs a little more time. Big flush right down to that 93 cent level. Early. We're still early. Still early on that. Again, we want probably these kind of situations, these kind of T coins to do nothing. Maybe a retest and then go sideways or start to develop. Have to retest that low. You don't retest that low, there's nothing's going to happen there. One more, and that will be from Evan, Bitcoin Cash. That went nuts. Ooh, I see something that's going nuts right now, too. Check that out. Whoa. Okay, kids. Always, always, always when I go on vacation, you get stuff like that. Wow. Thank you, sir. Well, this is what I think we want to see in your coins to kick off this halving cycle. That's a really difficult trade right there. I'm not going to shy away from, the fact that it's popping off now, but this is why this is a great one to finish on. Because this is when things develop. And it's so frustrating to go through that time period. But that's exactly the crypto situation on so many coins. And then explosion. Absolute explosion. That is really an impressive move. This is what everyone should be following now. Please follow Bitcoin Cash. Why? Pattern. Ugly. But baselined under the hop level. There's some confirmation. No, it just is not coincidental. That thing just went sideways at 110 forever. Now you're more than doubled. But the big news is that, look, there's your downtrend. Or even if you, and that's off the pattern, but if you want to just draw an easy downtrend of the last bear market, okay, and again, this is to the point to where for your coins, you want to be to the right of the downtrend. And I would say that you probably could have started all the way a year ago with this position. There was confirmation. But even off the pattern, okay, it still took 4 months to the right of that downtrend. All right, this is going to be a great one to follow. I think there's some fireworks. There's some, and that kind of makes sense where Bitcoin related vehicles and coins might be a place to look as the narrative gets pumped. You start to talk about halving and all of that. That's a great one. And for that, I think, again, it speaks to why Bitcoin has to be the leader to get the whole thing moving. You'll get Bitcoin cranking, you get Bitcoin Cash, whatever else you got to flow back in, and then the other money will follow. Smart money will go to Bitcoin. Dumb money will speculate on the rest of it. Not necessarily dumb, but the speculative money, where the people that are going to buy Bitcoin, they're probably buying Bitcoin to hold it, especially for the halving cycle. Oh, I don't know, Carthago. The FTX token, FTT. Oh, really? I know that Sam Gankman's out of there, but all right. And there was one other one I did want to look at. FTX token. No, I can't do it. Can't do it. Because I think that would be like investing back in Enron. There is a yellow dot. Is there a pattern here? Bearish. Yeah, I can't do it. The one who brought up Zcash, because that was one. That and Compound were the two that popped that we've been talking about. Zcash, that's been one of ours. And we've been looking at that at 34. It hit the hop at 21. Now our counter trend HSI. It, like Bitcoin Cash, it's going to take time to get to the right of that downtrend. Compound, that was even better. Back-to-back patterns there. Oh, there you go. Okay, so another reason why we can't get complacent on crypto. We're popping. Look at that. Back-to-back patterns. Look at that. That's just amazing. How important is the $30 level for Compound? And don't you wish you bought $1 billion at that level? Well, if it comes back one more time, yeah, you might get it. Listen, it's really to the right of the chart. It's not easy to see, but it's. Are we going to be looking back at these patterns when this thing starts to take off. Knowing target one, $83. I mean, how much do we have to sit through to get to target one? Obviously a lot, but we're at the end of the first half of the year. And everyone's now thinking from this point forward. Again, they're thinking 2024. So we got to take probably these type 2s, these pattern situations a lot more seriously for potential like Bitcoin Cash and Compound. And if it doesn't happen, just be patient. Just be patient. It's not an easy time, folks, for crypto holders. But that's why we line up the patterns. That's why we identify these levels, that we're taking action down at these levels and not up at these. We'll get there. Couple of the miners. I think, it's been some amazing action in the last couple of weeks with the likes of Bit Digital. It's off a little bit today. HSI checking back. Interesting. But remember this. There's your weekly. Okay. And I still say 1293 target one by next year. By next year. It could be the whole year. But that would be a remarkable move. And we've been on that since it buck. Really. Mara. Looks like this. Coming back. A lot of these were doing type 2 returns. Remember that from right before I went on vacation on your daily chart. Here's Mara. Had a, yeah. Well, now it's printing. There's the type 2. There was the initial. There's what I traced out. Look, there was the initial reaction. It went to target one. We were saying, $10, slightly under 10. Confirmation. Everything was there at 9. Sorry. And now we're back. It just hit the hop level 1423. Need confirmation. It's not there yet. So you're probably early. And if this thing really explodes, that would be, you would kick it off from here, in my opinion. This would really be the spot where you'd want to not only get above this 13, 14, you want to make the move up to 20. I do think that that's, early signs, but all the development, and remember, Mara was a $3 stock at the end of the year. So that's up 400%. But if it's going to run and it's going to do things off of the daily pattern, blow through now. Otherwise, probably go into another little corrective phase like it did back in April, May. The other one that did that was Clean Spark. These are the same group we talked about, a little crab pattern. Type 1, back to the type 2. Okay. Probably, more sideways grind. And the big breakout will be above that pattern, above 540, 550 for Clean Spark to set off, possible, again, like the big Bit Digital pattern. Look at those patterns. Software is kicking out that beautiful bat with target one at 1859. But again, thinking about the next cycle, it's probably an area you want to own. Riot for Geo. What's up, Geo? Riot was 6. Down here, sorry, 4 or $5. But the big bat pattern, like how many of these we've seen, what we're interested in is the next move, the next leg. You get out of that pattern, you get out of that zone above 14, and you make the run to 32. Again, long term, next year, it could, that's kind of the time frame we're thinking here, but major development. Yeah, the 4-hour has some bearish setups. I'm not surprised. Not surprised. Look, they've moved a lot. Crypto's moved a lot. But they look you know, these look a lot better than when we first started taking a gander and saying, hey, we shouldn't be complacent on these massive patterns. Also, something with the miners that easy to read, okay, to the right of the downtrend. That's the lesson of crypto. You better be to the right of the downtrend line on your from the prior 15, 18 months to expect really to be able to do anything. One or two more. I wanted to show this. Overstock is actually, they transformed themselves and they're popping today. They transformed themselves into a crypto company long ago. Patrick Byrne did. Had this, really kind of missed this, but had that bat pattern triggering right there at 17. Now it's 29. But, I'm not involved in that at all. But I'm interested because Overstock has this history. Whether it was digital sales, online sales, way back when, some people said they could take over Amazon. What a joke, but that was their original narrative. Then they went into the crypto space and transformed themselves. But look, it's not a surprise to see this putting in this amazing type 2. Type 1 off of that weekly bat pattern for Overstock. I really wish I was on this like a week ago, but I say that's early. And if it's a target 2, we're going to go to 60. So I'll be looking for opportunities to pull back. Just jump on that on pullbacks. And it's not the first time. Look at all these patterns on Overstock time and time again. And it has this history of doing a cycle pop all the way back down. Give you a pattern. Type 1 or type 2. Does not matter. I think that's interesting. And look at the monthly. It just has this amazing history. And look at the patterns too. I mean, crab pattern type 1, back perfect type 2 with the hop. And now on a monthly chart, we have a couple of HSI signals. HSI, perfect check back, perfect confirmation. Consider this your massive 3-bar breakout on the month. Again, 60, 75 for next year. That's not crazy. And every time it goes parabolic like that, in a really sharp move, like a 6-month move, 8-month move, it does remarkable things. So eyes on that Overstock. I like that. And then finally, MicroStrategy. Lulu wants to look at HUT, and that's another one. That's a beauty on the monthly. All-time 886 retest. Wasn't there something on the daily down here? Yeah, well, right now, deep crab at the moment. Okay. Little yellow dot. Okay. 330 area. Go into a pause, if you will. But this, I think this has something on the weekly time frame as well. No. Not yet. But, hey, another one. To the right. Right, we could stretch it way out, but, to the right of the downtrend. Give me signals to the right here. I think there's plenty of time, but I just, those are good ones. Even if HUT, if HUT did something like this, which we've been seeing off these short-term daily patterns, like go to target 1, Riot, Mara, CleanSpark, they all did that back in May, and then they launched again for the type 2 move. And that's, that could be the setup to launch it really where we get to those weekly numbers. MicroStrategy, bearish pattern up here, 352 range, maybe as high as 408. I think the weekly, the weekly is interesting here. Check out this downtrend. We trying to crack it? How do you guys feel about MicroStrategy? To the right there. It did an all-time 886 reset. And you know if it pops off, okay, it's going to go. And take a look. That all-time 886 now looks reasonable. You know, the 258 range, now 330. What's that pattern down there? Was it type 2 Gartley? Hold on. Well, last cycle it was a type 2 Gartley. Didn't come back down. But I think you got to watch these because they've made a lot of progress. Stuff like Bit Digital, Riot Blockchain, they've done better than I even thought they would. So those are, oh, let me finish with this. The Mac Daddy Coinbase. So there's your monthly, and or excuse me, weekly, but the daily, remember it wasn't long ago, back down here, what was that, 2 weeks ago? On the 7th, 3 weeks ago, we were staring that hop level retest at $49 in the face and said, you know, that's probably another range-bound opportunity. Even if we go to the top end of that line, that's 84. You're at 70. So if you're not into Coinbase, all right, it's only a range-bound opportunity at the moment. But the big note, and we are looking for these things like MicroStrategy, Coinbase, to do larger moves. They have to break out of this year-long consolidation range. This could be a Bitcoin Cash. Technically, it could be a lot like Bitcoin Cash, where it does the same deal, goes sideways for a year, and then pops off. So our job is to be accumulating down on the low end of the range to minimize risk. Will we get another shot at 50? Don't know. Don't know. Be ready. I'm long a little bit. I'm long a little bit. It's not a lot, just a little bit. But I'm, you know, to take a big position or take a call option position, you know, that would require something bigger to develop. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Everyone, please join me. Let's give away one more gold membership, GOLD, and you can actually come to the seminar tomorrow as a gold member for free. And I think, you know, get your information here on the website at harmonictrader.com. It's in the menu, option seminar. And for members and owners, contact me on Discord or through the account on the gold members, silver member page. We have put all that information right there. Okay, Sir Filthington, funny name, you win the gold. You have to send me, you have to contact me on Discord, or if it's easier, send me an email to harmonictrader@gmail.com to make sure you get set up, all right, and with the gold. Everyone else, hope to see you tomorrow. And then we'll be back on next week, Tuesday. Actually, here we go again, 4th of July. Tuesday's 4th of July, so we probably won't be back there. But maybe we'll do something Wednesday and Thursday. All right, subscribe, hit the like button for me. I'd appreciate it. I'll give you that update. I'll tweet something out when I do, because 4th of July, no, I won't take it easy. But maybe do Wednesday, Thursday next week. All right, look for my tweets on there. And until then, hey, see you tomorrow, everybody. Get ready. It's going to be a great one. Until then, go get them.